It was an autumn evening, just as the sun's last golden rays sank below the horizon, casting long shadows through the dense forest. My friends and I had embarked on a weekend getaway in search of adventure and a break from our mundane lives. Little did we know that the small, abandoned cabin we stumbled upon deep in the woods would become the epicenter of a terrifying ordeal we would never forget. The cabin was a decrepit structure, its wooden walls weathered and warped by years of neglect. Vines crawled up its sides, their tendrils reaching out like skeletal fingers. The windows were shattered, allowing the chill of the approaching night to creep inside. As we cautiously pushed open the creaking door, a musty odor filled the air, and the dim light filtering through the forest canopy revealed a room filled with cobwebs and debris. "Whoa, guys, check this out." Mark, always the adventurous one, called out as he bent down to examine a dusty bookshelf in the corner. His fingers brushed over a layer of grime, revealing rows of old books and manuscripts. Curiosity piqued, we gathered around him. Amidst the tomes that seemed untouched by human hands for centuries, one book stood out. It was bound in cracked leather, and its pages looked ancient, like parchment that had survived the ravages of time. "I wonder what's in it," Sarah mused, her hazel eyes sparkling with intrigue. I reached out, hesitating for a moment before pulling the book from its resting place. A shiver coursed through my body as I held it in my hands. It felt cold and heavy, as though it held secrets that weighed it down. Without any hesitation, I opened the book to its first page. The text was written in a language I couldn't recognize, filled with cryptic symbols and strange diagrams. It was as if the words themselves were alive, shifting and morphing on the page, like whispers in the wind. A deep unease settled in my stomach, but curiosity compelled me to continue. As I turned the pages, I noticed illustrations of grotesque creatures and scenes of unspeakable horror. The more I read, the more the words seemed to take root in my mind, as if they were burrowing deep into my consciousness. I couldn't tear my eyes away from the sinister script. Hours passed, or maybe it was days, time lost all meaning. The world outside the cabin faded into obscurity as the book consumed my thoughts. My friends, too, were entranced, lost in their own worlds of dark fascination. In the eerie silence that enveloped the cabin, I began to hear faint whispers, like a distant choir of ghosts. They spoke to me in a language that was both ancient and timeless. The whispers told of forgotten rituals and the summoning of malevolent entities. I knew then that the book held a sinister secret, a forbidden knowledge that should never have been uncovered. In my growing dread, I tried to close the book, but my hands refused to obey. It was as though the book itself was determined to keep me enthralled. Panic welled up inside me as I realized that I was losing control of my own body. "Guys, we need to stop," I cried out, desperate to break the hold of the book on us. But my words fell on deaf ears. Mark, Sarah, and the others continued to read, their eyes vacant, their souls ensnared. The whispers grew louder, echoing through the cabin like a cacophony of despair. As I turned another page, a shadowy figure materialized before me. It was a grotesque, otherworldly entity, its form constantly shifting and contorting. Its eyes glowed with a malevolent hunger, and it reached out toward me with bony, elongated fingers. I felt an icy grip around my heart, and the room seemed to spin. I don't know how I summoned the strength, but with a surge of willpower, I tore my gaze away from the book and slammed it shut. The cabin quaked, and the whispers fell silent. The sinister entity let out a blood-curdling scream, vanishing into the dark corners of the room. My friends blinked, their eyes clearing as if waking from a terrible nightmare. Horror etched on their faces, they stumbled to their feet, clutching their heads as if trying to expel the insidious knowledge they had absorbed. "We have to get out of here," I urged, my voice trembling. We fled the cabin, leaving the cursed book behind. The forest outside seemed different now, as if it had taken on a malevolent aura. We ran through the woods, driven by sheer terror, until we finally reached the safety of civilization. In the days that followed, we tried to forget the horrors we had witnessed in that forsaken cabin. But the book's sinister secret continued to haunt our nightmares, and the whispers echoed in the recesses of our minds. I knew one thing for certain: the book was never meant to be found, and the knowledge it contained was a darkness that should have remained forever hidden. It was a reminder that some secrets were better left buried, lest they consume the very essence of those who dare to uncover them. To this day, I wonder what became of that accursed tome, and I pray that it will never again find its way into the hands of the curious, lest its sinister secrets unleash a terror beyond imagination.